Oh, hello there. Have you just been clickbaited the absolute shit out of? Well, of course you have. But it's okay, because I'm British, because I'm a smartass. Ding! I'm Adam Sexpest, and this is how WWE should book the 2025 Royal Rumble.
Okay, hello. So this is something that I meant to complete and upload and everything literally over a year and a half ago now, but never got to it because reasons. But as of right now, I just want to kind of finally, even though it's going to suck, get it out there. Mainly because I have a lot of videos still in my camera roll included in the project, and I want to clear that shit up and have some more space. So I'm just kind of going to try to briefly go through, some of the things I had to the best of my ability and say my ideas and what my kind of main storylines for the 2025, yes, you heard that right, Royal Rumble, mainly the men's, was. So there are some videos here that, particularly this one you're about to watch, that was recorded on 48 hours of no sleep, something like that. So I was extremely tired and likely incoherent in them, so please excuse that, but there's a few brief videos of me explaining, kind of what I wanted the women's Royal Rumble to be, and then the bulk of this is going to be about the men's, but this was a brief kind of thing, a little blurb about the women's, so let's watch them right now, and let's let there be volume, as God famously said.
2025's 30-woman Royal Rumble match lineup in alphabetical order. AJ Lee, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Ava, Bayley, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Carmella, Charlotte Flair, Chelsea Green, Cora Jade, Dakota Kai, Fallon Henley, Julia, Io Sky, Jade Cargill, Jordan Grace, Kiana James, Liv Morgan, Lola Vice, Masha Slamovic, Naomi, Natalia, Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Roxanne Perez, Sol Ruca, Stephanie Vaquer, Zarya.
Okay, there's that. That was my lineup. Here's this asshole sex pest, who I used to do a lot of fantasy booking stuff and wanted to be just like. No one should aspire to be this person. But there's one more video like what you just saw. I don't know if it's any different. Let's see.
Number 1, Io Sky. Number 2, Bianca Belair. Number 3, Sol Ruca. Number 4, Natalia. Number 5, Bayley. Number 30 is going to be the return of AJ Lee as a big surprise. Nia Jax is going to come in later in the match because we've seen, based off this last War Games match, that she does not need to be coming early in these matches and going long. Raquel is going to come in after Liv, and Zarya is going to come in after Raquel, and Zarya and Raquel, those two big tall girls, are going to have a stare-off. There's going to be some sort of interaction with Roxanne and Cora against Bayley. Bayley possibly teaming up with Julia, and Steph Vaquer coming in there, getting entangled with Julia and Cora and Roxanne, the girls that they were all feuding with NXT, so that kind of circle right there. The Fallon Henley is the NXT North American Champion, Women's North American Champion. And, of course, Masha Slamovich is currently the TNA Knockouts Champion and the NXT Women's Champion. Right now, I have her in the match. It is Julia. Yeah, that's right. And I already talked about where her role would be, interacting somehow with... she can interact with the other Joshies in the match. I was going to have Kairi Sane in here, but I believe she is on the injured reserve currently. That hasn't stopped me from putting some people in the men's, but it is what it is. Julia can have some interactions with the likes of Asuka and Io as well. That'll be nice for the fans. And then the stuff with Steph Vaquer and Cora and Roxanne and Bayley, who she just recently teamed with. Maybe something to do with eliminations with Bayley and Roxanne and Cora to set up for their matches coming up. I just had all the champions in the company, women's champions that aren't on the main ones on the main roster. I only had Fallon Henley in there because she is the NXT North American Women's Champion right now, so let's put her in because she is that champion. And Julia, of course, that fits in. And since WWE's partnership with TNA, Masha Slamovich, an appearance in the Rumble, That is nice. She's the TNA Women's Knockouts Champion, they call it. And the recently signed Jordan Grace making the impact. And, of course, we also see many returns in this match. The returns of the likes of, besides AJ Lee at 30, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, the NXT GM Ava making her debut. Don't want to spoil later in the night, but there's a reason for that, if you know who her father is. The return of Becky Lynch, Carmella, Charlotte, who we know about already, is advertised. And Charlotte's going to make a big impact, as I will get into. The return of Jade Cargill, that's a big one. So at one point, Bayley's going to be in there, and she's going to be in there with, or Naomi's going to come in, and Bayley and Bianca are going to be already in the ring because they entered early, like I said. And there's going to be a moment where, Naomi's, let me think about this. I can't think of here because I haven't gotten any sleep.
I guess that's that.
Number one,
that just ended out of nowhere. Oh, there's the, this is unrelated. Never mind my autistic love for Costco and its food court. Yeah. But let's get back so that was the Women's Rumble that year. And to cut to the chase, why did I skip to halfway through everything? But as far as the women's match, to cut to the chase, I was going to have Charlotte Flair win, as she did in real life. But by last eliminating Jordan Grace. So that's how that was going to end. I was going to have Jordan Grace as the runner-up. So now I will do my best there's a lot of just bullshit in this little iMovie thing. I'll try my best to narrate through it and remember everything I had. So I think this stuff was basically to say earlier in the night, there's a backstage interview with John Cena because, of course, it's his retirement year and it was going to be his final Royal Rumble match. So there's essentially a backstage interview earlier in the night with John Cena. He is confronted by Dominic Mysterio, and they basically just have some words. Dom kind of steps up to Cena. There's going to be something there between those two, and that will come into play later on because I actually pay off my angles, all right? So, number one, as you could guess, Dominic Mysterio. So I'm pretty sure I had him coming out with Judgment Day. Oh, another cool thing about this is I was going to have, obviously this is 1 and 2, so the countdown clocks don't come on for the first two, but I was going to have the countdown clocks for each entrant, and they're trying for a little bit, and then I was going to, as I was talking, I was going to have video game footage of their entrance. It's something that Wrestling Gifts does, so I probably got the idea from him, but also just to kind of avoid copyright and still be able to talk about what they're going to do in the match. But yes, Dominic Mysterio number 1, and number 2, Rey Mysterio. So yes, those two were going to be the first two. And I'll try to talk about eliminations. Yeah, so essentially what was going to happen here is they were both going to be eliminated before number 3 even came out. Dom was going to be the first eliminated. Ray gets him out almost right away, and then that leads to Judgment Day coming out and beating down Rey Mysterio, and all of Judgment Day kind of cheat after Dom kind of got embarrassed and humiliated and eliminated first and so quickly. Judgment Day all come out and beat down Ray for the heat, and they toss Ray out of the ring. So before this would probably be the first time in the history of the Royal Rumble that there is currently no one active in the ring. But that would lead to number 3 coming out, which would in fact be none other at the time than Joe Hendry. And this is just kind of a dumb little idea I had where, and like I said, stuff will come to be paid off later. So this isn't the last you're going to see of the Dom and Ray thing. There will be more to come in that later in the match. Trust on that. But yeah, that storyline will develop. But number 3 was Joe Hendry, and as I was saying, this is kind of a dumb idea I had for this and the next entrant after him, which you will see. Kind of give the crowd a chance to sing their theme songs, so that this and the next one are going to be like crowd participation heavy, like theme song singing things. So again, there's no one in the ring at the moment. Dom and Ray both got eliminated before number 3. So, the crowd is all singing Joe Hendry's theme. He's coming to the ring. He does his full entrance. And then number 4, while the countdown clock is on, this is where the crowd was going to be kind of chanting, "We believe, we believe." And then out next comes, they're not done singing yet because, whoop, that Trick Williams was going to be my number 4. So right after singing Joe Hendry's theme, there's more crowd participation. They're all chanting, "Whoop that Trick." So he makes his way out at number 4. And it's Joe Hendry and Trick Williams for a little bit. So those two go at it, and then the countdown clock sounds. And joining those two in the ring, keep in mind Trick Williams is there, who is someone who kind of got him over early on. Fittingly, at number 5, can you dig it, sucker? Yes, it is Booker T. So I would have had, kind of similar to what they did in 2012, have Booker T stand up from the announce table and 5-time, all that. Just kind of don't pay attention to what that says. He's not 17. That was years ago. But he is number 5 in my 2025 men's fantasy rumble. So he goes in the ring and he kind of starts helping Trick Williams. So those two getting up on Joe Hendry. Oh, and also at the time, why this made sense is, I think back at this time, Joe Hendry was making sort of appearances at Reality of Wrestling, and he was like, Booker T was kind of like feuding with him kind of low-key. So Booker was having problems with Joe Hendry. So that and Booker's association with, ad-libbing Trick Williams' entrance, that's kind of how that makes sense there. So those 3 are in the ring currently, and then this would be number 6, which would be Carmelo Hayes. So you got Carmelo Hayes in there. He has the, what's the word I'm looking for? The history, the kind of, with Trick Williams, their partners. So there's all that's playing in there. Yep. No current eliminations, I believe. I'll try my best to remember when I would have had. I think for a while here, the names and bodies are going to start to pile up until someone comes in and starts clearing house. But yeah, Melo's in there at number 6 with Joe Hendry and Trick Williams and Booker T. So number 7, at the time, Carmelo Hayes was having a lot of matches with someone. And whenever I've booked Royal Rumble matches in the past, I kind of like, telling multiple stories and having the entrants kind of flow into one another. So that being said, if you remember back to this time in WWE, Carmelo Hayes was feuding seemingly nonstop with Andrade, and they had a great series of matches. So at number 7, Andrade would have made his way out, and all that happens for a while. So you got all these dynamics kind of going on. Booker and Trick, Booker and Joe Hendry, who were, like I said, I remember kind of having their problems at the time, and then Carmelo and Trick, and by proxy, Carmelo kind of goes after Booker T and kind of gets over that way, and then Melo and Andrade also. So you have all these different kind of dynamics and stories going on and mixing in the ring at the same time. So, number 8 was LA Knight, because I think also a few months earlier at maybe it was Crown Jewel 2024, there was a 3-way between Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, and LA Knight. And he was kind of in the mix with Melo and Andrade at the time also. So see how things are kind of the entrants are kind of making sense and kind of flowing into each other. So number 8, LA Knight, he gets his big pop. He always gets a big crowd reaction. So LA Knight's out there. He's in the mix with everyone currently in the ring. And at this point, there have been no eliminations since Dom and Ray. But I do believe, if I remember, that's about to change. Because at number 9 begins what I would have called the Bloodline Wall, or just Bloodline Wall, or something like that. And I'll get into what that was as we go on here. So this starts a slew of Bloodline-related entrants to kind of shift the momentum of the match, and they all gang up. And I kind of had it in order of relevance and kind of status in the Bloodline. So that being said, I did indeed have the legend Tonga Loa at number 9. So he comes in and he by himself, he gets to work on trying to eliminate the field, but he himself is not successful as of yet. He needs his backup to come in, and one man is not going to eliminate all those guys. So, continuing bloodline wall. I don't know why I decided to call it that, but it's like a wall of bloodline guys, so I guess it makes sense. But nevertheless, number 10, the bloodline theme hits again, and it was Tama Tonga. So Tama Tonga comes in at 10, and it's he and Tonga Loa, and they're kind of the bloodline ranks are building, and not quite yet eliminations, but there is one more guy that's about to come in, and at this point, people in the crowd are kind of planning on committing suicide if they hear the bloodline theme again, and lucky for them, they do. And at this point, it is at number 11 that Jacob Fatu comes out. So that's 3 bloodline members in a row. And don't worry, after this, we'll take a break from it for a while. So Jacob Fatu comes out at number 11, and at this point, they start eliminating everyone previously in the ring. So that being Joe Hendry, Trick Williams, Booker T, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, and LA Knight. All those 3 bloodline guys, Tonga Loa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu, they would start eliminating everybody else. So at this point, then, it is those 3 members of the bloodline in the ring, and they've taken over the match. And they've eliminated everyone else that is not within their ranks. And at this point, there's these long Titantron videos, because I didn't cut them down at this point. But so this next entrant would be number 12, and so there's going to be kind of a new story starting to build in the match here. It's the bloodline is kind of taking over the ring, so one by one we're going to get some of their adversaries coming out. So number 12 would have been Jimmy Uso. So we get Jimmy Uso coming out to try to take on the bloodline, but of course at this point it's 3-on-1, so despite his best efforts, he gets beaten down. But not eliminated yet. They're just kind of beating him down, like I said. And then eventually the clock does appear. Got to scroll through these long ass. There we go. Oh, well, spoiled. iMovie is great. Well, as you can see, number 13 is Jey Uso. And I had the idea here that he was set to make his usual entrance coming through the crowd. And once he sees that his brother Jimmy is getting a 3-on-1 beatdown, it's kind of like frantic for him, and he's like, he was gonna enter through the crowd, as I said, but he's kind of starts like running down, having to kind of get around the sea of fans in order to save his brother from the beatdown. So Jay's running down from the crowd and hops the barricade and gets in the ring to try and help Jimmy. So at this point, it's the Usos, two of the Usos versus 3 members of the bloodline. So the teams are kind of building up here. So Jay and Jimmy are trying to take on Tama, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu of the bloodline. So the babyface team is kind of being built up here. With that being said, at number 14, it is the honorary Us, Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn comes in, and he joins forces with the Usos, and now it's an even game. So the 3 babyfaces are taking it to the 3 members of the bloodline at this point, and no eliminations as of yet here, but we are about to approach the halfway point of the match. So at number 15, it is CM Punk. And CM Punk comes down, and before, the bloodline, the heel bloodline guys were kind of taking the advantage, and it was the big heat portion of the match, and they eliminated everyone that came in previously before them. And then the babyfaces started adding up, and it got even. And now it's back in the babyfaces' favor. Guys, ops of the bloodline, if you will. And now it's in the babyfaces' favor, 4-on-3, as CM Punk came in. But yeah. So I think at this point, then I believe I had the babyfaces eliminate Tonga Loa, Tama Tonga. Well, those 2, and then basically, those 2, but Jacob Fatu did manage to remain in, and he will come into play in a little bit, but the babyfaces are able to eliminate a few more guys. And this entrant being CM Punk at number 15, we're at the halfway point. At this point, CM Punk is countered with, I wonder if you can take a guess, a really hot feud of the time. Well, there you go. Drew McIntyre at number 16. So Drew McIntyre comes in to counter the momentum of the faces, and specifically Punk, who he absolutely hated at the time. They had a great feud. So Drew McIntyre, number 16, he's in there with the Usos, Punk, and Jacob Fatu. And then number 17 will be to counter McIntyre, Solo Sikoa. Yeah, so Solo comes out at this point, and I believe Drew was having problems with the bloodline at this point, and Drew, I think, was in the War Games match a few months prior in 2024 against the bloodline. Or maybe he was with the bloodline, but they ended up having some sort of problems. I definitely know that. So at this point, a lot of his guys eliminated. Solo, the headmaster himself of the bloodline, and the last guy in the bloodline to come in the match, Solo Sikoa himself, the leader, comes in. He's all pissed. He's huffing and puffing on his way to the ring, swearing. And that's Solo Sikoa at number 17. So he primarily tries to go after Drew. So those two are fighting, Drew and the Usos, and just kind of all the guys who eliminated his bloodline guys. Solo at number 17. I want you to take a guess who comes in next. Number 18, the big return of the big dog, Roman Reigns. That is right. So Roman comes in, and I'm pretty sure I had him almost immediately throwing out Solo Sikoa. So you have that dynamic there. Now, there's a lot of stories being told about this Royal Rumble match, not just random bullshit, great feats of athleticism. I don't even know what I'm saying, but I'm definitely trying to have things flow into each other and just have those storylines throughout this Rumble match. That's what I like. So Reigns at number 18, and then after having, as you can see, a gruesome ladder match earlier in the night, Kevin Owens, similar to in 2016 when he kind of limped out after a brutal match, last man standing match with Dean Ambrose, Kevin Owens is at number 19. Keeping in mind he did have that ladder match, but there is a story beat upcoming here that I want him to be in here for. Don't worry, he doesn't last very long. He doesn't have to do that much after his ladder match, but just wait on here. You will see the reason he is in this match. He does a few things, but at this point, and he also still hates the bloodline, Kevin Owens, so I'm sure he goes after Roman Reigns and all them. And Sami Zayn is in there at this point, so maybe some stuff there. But number 20, someone that he took out at this point, and we're about to be 2/3 of the way through the match, it is the returning Randy Orton at number 20. So Orton, gets out there, he gets a big return pop, and he pretty much immediately throws Kevin Owens out of there. So that's Randy Orton at number 21. And like I said, it's been a long time since I looked at all this, and 2025 Rumble's a long time ago, so I'm trying my best to remember, what eliminations would have happened at points. So number 21, we have a big guy who has not actually been in the match yet, but I figured before some other story beats that happened in this match, it's a good time to get this guy in here. It is Seth freaking Rollins at number 21. Rollins comes in, and then at number 22, this was actually before the Vision formed, so this was purely by coincidence, Rollins and then Breakker. But this is a section now where I had some kind of guys of the future come in. So number 22, Braun Breaker. Yep. Number 23 would have been Obafemi. So you got Braun and then Obafemi right after. There's kind of monsters starting to pile up in the ring. And importantly, at this point, Jacob Fatu is still in. So you get Braun and Oba face off. And also kind of Jacob Fatu rising from the depths in the middle of them. Well, that comes after, actually. Jacob Fatu kind of rising in the frame. That comes after the next guy comes in, which, of course, if you know anything about WWE, and they actually did this year, 2026. They did this exact spot with this guy, with Obafemi and someone else that I don't think was Braun, because in 2026, Braun got eliminated first. But, of course, it's The Miz at number 24, I believe this is. So Miz is in there. He sees Braun Breaker and Obafemi facing off, and he says, "Fuck this, I obviously want no part of this." So The Miz does what The Miz does, and he fucking goes on commentary for a little bit. He does eventually get in the ring. He gets in the ring first, trying to be like all bravado, and he sees Braun and Oba facing off, and he's kind of in the middle, but then Jacob Fatu rises from behind The Miz, and he's kind of like trapped and sandwiched by Braun Breaker, Oba Femi, and Jacob Fatu. So Miz is like, oh yeah, I'm fucked, and he wants no part of this. He realizes quickly, so that's when at that point he kind of scurries out of the ring and tries to go on commentary. So everyone's fighting in the ring, and The Miz is trying to find the easy way out. And I'm not just kind of booking The Miz in here for no reason to fill a spot. This will play into something in a short bit here. Number 25 was The New Day. And this is important. I have this kind of split up here because this was after they kicked Big E out and that whole angle where they turned on Big E. So at this point, they would debut a new intro part. You know how the New Day always had Big E saying, oh, don't be sour, and that whole introduction. So I remember I would have had a new thing debut here with Kofi and Woods doing it themselves. So that would have got some heat. And then it is Kofi that enters the match. But Woods does come out with him, and the New Day Tron plays and everything. So it's Kofi at number 25. And there is the spot. Kofi tries to do one of his save spots. I forgot who I would have had kind of swat him out of the air, but basically I think I remember what the spot was. Kofi tries to do a springboard on the top rope, and like someone kind of swats him, and he jumps behind him and like grabs onto the barricade. So he's not letting go, and at this point he's kind of arguing with a fan, and oh no, I tell you what happened. I remember now. Big E is actually sat front row. Yeah, Big E is in the front row, just to kind of watch the match, and Kofi ends up doing his safe spot and like avoiding elimination, hovering over the floor, grabbing tight the barricade right in front of Big E. So Woods and Big E kind of start arguing, or Woods and Kofi, the guys that turned on Big E start arguing with him, and at this point, The Miz also gets up off a commentary, and for some reason, kind of joins in and thinks he's a part of it, and starts arguing with Big E too. And I think, the genesis of the arguing, I'm starting to remember shit in real time now. Basically, Kofi's holding on, and they were shitty to Big E, so Big E kind of like, smacks Kofi's arms away, and Kofi falls and gets eliminated. So Big E cost him that, but it's kind of vindication for how they treated him. And so at this point, it's Woods, Kofi, and The Miz kind of jaw-jacking with Big E on the outside as the countdown clock appears, and this was going to be, I believe, number 26 or 27, but we're definitely getting to the end here, people, and it is the Wyatt Six. And at this point, like a big thing of the Wyatt Six was they kind of, went after people that had wronged other people, or, they were kind of trying to get justice. So, basically, the Wyatt Six all come out. The official entrant in this spot is Uncle Howdy, but the Wyatt Six all come out, and they brawl with Woods and Kofi and The Miz. The Wyatt Six throw Miz in the ring and throw him out, so Miz is eliminated. And I think I also honestly had Uncle Howdy kind of eliminating himself in the name of, just being crazy, scary Wyatt Six people. So basically that disposes of all of that little bit. So Wyatt Six come out, and Uncle Howdy kind of eliminates himself, and all the Wyatt Six guys brawl with Kofi and Woods and The Miz to the back, so they're all out of this match now, and Big E is kind of like feeling vindicated in the front row. So that's that little story beat there. And then depending on who this is up next, I will remember. So I think that was 26, because I remember there's definitely 4 more right here. One moment. Disregard that. But anyways, I believe this is going to be 27, yes, because I remember the last 4 at this point. Or is it only 4? So number 27, and this is kind of a big thing that's about to happen here. These next entrants are all going to kind of play into each other. Number 27 is Shinsuke Nakamura. So if you kind of start thinking about Nakamura and imagine who could be next, number 28 ends up being the returning AJ Styles. So you got Nakamura, then you got Styles, and not to spoil it early, but if you're kind of a hardcore fan, then you start to get to thinking who could be after these guys. Your guess may be right. Definitely the biggest kind of shock, surprise, unexpected entrant of the match so far. It is New Japan legend Hiroshi Tanahashi at number 29. Tanahashi was set to retire in January of 2026, and I figured I really want to get him one WWE appearance before he hung it up, and in the Rumble, and especially sandwiched between the last two entrants and the guy who's about to be out next. I just realized I forgot to mention something big about this match. So remember when I had Dom confront John Cena in a backstage interview earlier, kind of at the beginning of the show? A big part of that is Dom absolutely attacks and brutalizes John Cena. So Dom beats down John Cena backstage, and it's looking like John Cena is going to have to be taken out of the match. His last Royal Rumble. It's like, no. And then we're checking in on that story throughout the night. So, and then at about number 15, the middle point, we get a check-in on that after Dom was eliminated so embarrassingly, number one. At about number 15, the halfway point of the Rumble match, we check back in on things, and pretty much, I guess, like Cena is I'm trying to remember here, but we basically just check back in and all that towards the middle point. And the narrative is it's starting to look like John Cena is too hurt from Dom's beatdown, and Dom might have to take his place. I guess I kind of keep all that in mind for later. But for now, number 29 is Tanahashi. Like I said, get him in there with some rivals, like Nakamura and AJ. All ties into New Japan history, but Hiroshi Tanahashi in the Royal Rumble, number 29. That is a very big thing, and he has a little bit of a performance in that. And we get Tanahashi in the Rumble and an appearance in WWE before he retires from in-ring competition in pro wrestling the following year. So at this point, someone's laughing outside. At this point, everyone expected John Cena to be number 30, but it's Dom's music that hits, and there is massive boos. And Dom, I keep scrolling too far ahead. Dom comes out. It looks like John Cena's not going to be in his, the whole thing. Oh, no, fuck you, Dom. You just cost John Cena his final Royal Rumble. But then the lights go out as Dom is on the stage. And for visual purposes here, I had like WrestleMania 40 when Taker's gone, kid, and the lights all went out, and that's kind of what it is for a few seconds. The lights go out on Dom, and what plays is this cool video package I found of Cena. So I'll shut up for a second, and this is what plays in the arena. Just watch as the lights are out on Dom. I was going to let that play for, dramatic effect or whatever, but what actually happens first is, so that whole thing plays, and the lights come on. John Cena is there, and basically he grabs Dom and he AAs him off the stage through tables or something, and that's obviously revenge for Dom's attack on him, but also for Cena's good babyface friend, Cena's good pure babyface fellow pure babyface in wrestling, Rey Mysterio. So John Cena is number 30 in his final Royal Rumble match after all. So before his music hits, John Cena kind of adjusts himself and throws up those fucking peace signs he does, and then his music hits. So the crowd is going crazy, and John Cena is making his way down to the ring, and John Cena is the final entrant, isn't he? Number 30. So trying to think of what happens at this point. Yeah, obviously there's the dream for some people, Cena and Tanahashi, so Tanahashi stays in long enough so we get some Cena and Tanahashi interactions. Eliminating Tanahashi, I think I had either Cena or I think primarily Nakamura. I'm pretty sure I had Nakamura eliminating Hiroshi Tanahashi, but Cena also has interactions with his past rivals in this match, because at this point we weren't sure, on his retirement tour, what kind of matches he was going to have with people, how many. So Cena interacts with Nakamura, Cena interacts with AJ Styles, whoever else is in. Randy Orton's still in the match. We get a little bit of Cena Orton back and forth. Reigns is still in the match. We get some Cena Reigns. Any of Cena's rivals who I haven't said have been eliminated at this point. Basically, we just got little moments of Cena in the ring with his greatest foes. So yeah, and at this point, it comes down, I believe, if I remember correctly, it comes down to John Cena, Randy Orton, CM Punk, and the final five at this point: John Cena, Randy Orton, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. Those are the final five guys in the ring, it appears. So, trying to think of what happened at this point. I think basically, I'll say what I know at this point. It was something that was kind of heavily rumored at the time, and I definitely kind of stole this idea, but all of a sudden, my idea for the presentation of it was, all of a sudden, we cut to the back, and there's people scrambling, production people saying what's going on? Is he here? And they're all kind of vague about it, about something happened or someone who's there or not, but they don't say who it is yet. And they're the production people are being told to put back up the countdown clock, and the cameraman is following all through backstage and all this hectic madness. And there's just the idea that someone big has arrived, and there's for the first time, basically there's going to be a 31st entrant in the Rumble, and if you have any brains at all, you would know that is, there's kind of a few seconds pause for dramatic effect after the buzzer sounds, and but obviously it's The Rock. So the final boss is number 31, and he makes his way down, and I'll start to get into kind of the ending portion now. Oh, that's the end of the iMovie. Okay, well, essentially what happens is, I can't exactly remember how Rollins got eliminated, but Rollins does get eliminated, and so at that point, the final four, not including The Rock, is Cena, Punk, Orton, Reigns. Yeah, so it's that, and so Rock is in there now, and Rock and Roman try to kind of team up against Cena and Orton. That's kind of what's going on. Rock and Roman teaming up against Cena and Orton, but then, it's CM Punk is also still in there. That's a key thing. Yes, I'm fucking up. I'm just trying to remember all this stuff from over a year ago. After The Rock has entered, that is for real official the last one. Number 30, big shock, surprise number 31, The Rock. At that point, once he's entered, in the ring are The Rock, John Cena, CM Punk, Randy Orton,
and Roman Reigns. So Punk can I just kind of be off in the corner somewhere, or he can try to be teaming up with Cena and Orton to take on Rock and Reigns, the Samoans. But basically the thing is, Randy Orton. I think I'll get into some of my card I had for Mania 41 too, but the thing kind of is that, basically Orton turns on Cena. He hits him with an RKO, and he kind of throws Cena out. And the shock is that Cena's not going to win his last Rumble. And if you can't tell from that, one of the matches I had for Mania 41, Cena's Mania 41 match I had was him and Randy Orton. It's because they never had a one-on-one in Mania. That's just, what I've had based on all this at the time. So, it looks like Orton's going to help Cena against the Samoans, but he ends up RKOing him, and he throws Cena out. So Cena's eliminated. John Cena is not winning his final ever Royal Rumble. That's kind of a big thing there. And I think Orton even kind of, I don't know, but Randy Orton somehow is no longer a factor in the match. So at that point, Cena's out. Orton is no longer a factor. At that point, it is Rock, Roman. Okay, so Orton turns on Cena, and then the main event of night 2, like the true ultra main event of Mania 41, night 2's main event, I had a triple threat match: Cody, Rock, and Roman. That's what I had. So The Rock turns on Roman Reigns, and so Rock eliminates Roman Reigns. So that brings the final 2 down to The Rock and CM Punk. CM Punk was definitely a lead to win the 2025 Men's Rumble at this time. So those are the final. Oops, I just disregard that, guys. And at this point, Punk and Rock are doing some light brawling. And I, at this point, would have had, let's see if I can, yeah. Oh, and also, this is a spot I would have had Cody do in his ladder match with Kevin Owens. A cutter like that. And I had some visual aids here. That's my idea of what led to the Kofi spot. Literally that right there. And this whole thing with Big E. Oh, and I had speed in there somehow. Randy Orton, goes backstage, and he basically, speed was already there. But Randy Orton RKO speed backstage. Yeah. But a guy that looks like this, a guy in a mask, shows up in the ring as it's Rock and Punk, and nobody knows who it is. Okay, so it looks like he is. Basically, I'll just say it. It ends up being Stone Cold Steve Austin. The 2 main events I had for WrestleMania 41, night 1 I had CM Punk for Stone Cold Steve Austin, and night 2 I had Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and The Rock WWE Championship triple threat match. Those were my 2 main events for Mania 41. So Stone Cold kind of basically helps The Rock in the year of our Lord 2025. Looks like he kind of stands next to Punk, and looks like he's gonna help him, dismiss him in, and then Punk extends the hand. And you get the 2 middle fingers, and at that point you kind of know it's Steve Austin, and he stunners CM Punk, and obviously then he takes off the mask and it's Austin, and at this point you get this visual. Rock and Austin. Rock can't believe that Austin's there, and that he's helping. This is also, custom kind of graphics with Rocket 31, by the way. And so at that point, Austin attacks CM Punk. And they're setting up that match, and basically The Rock kind of, the ending kind of move is, CM Punk is on the apron, and Rock basically from inside the ring, Rock bottoms him
onto the apron, and CM Punk kind of rolls off and dies, and Rock won the Royal Rumble, yeah. So that sets up Rock going on, and yeah, that three-way with Cody and Roman. So now that is the Royal Rumble match. And then to end this off, I'm going to try to remember some of what my Mania 41 card was off the top of my head. So you had Night 1's main event, CM Punk versus Steve Austin. Night 2, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and The Rock, three-way. And then I forgot just the other matches, regardless of what night they were on. I had Brock Lesnar versus... I had Brock Lesnar versus Gunther. I had Goldberg versus Braun Breaker in Goldberg's retirement match. I had I had a crazy idea that like AEW and WWE were gonna have a partnership, and the opener of Night 1 of Mania would be an AEW Championship match with Jon Moxley versus Seth Rollins. Actually, that's the idea I had. So Night 1's opener, AEW Championship, and Seth Rollins wins it. And Seth Rollins is AEW champion, and that would be part of a working relationship between those two companies. But that's the idea I had there. And then kind of a similar thing, Night 2's opener would have been a TNA championship match. I don't remember who the TNA champion was at the time. Maybe Nick Nemeth defending against someone. But yeah, those and Rock vs. Gunther and Goldberg's retirement against Braun Breaker. Braun obviously going over, being kind of the next Goldberg. Other matches I had, I think I did have AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Just that seemed fun for both guys. I had Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton. I had Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill. I had an intergender match. I had Dominic Mysterio versus Rhea Ripley. That would have been kind of a big, fun WrestleMania attraction. Rhea Ripley ending up winning that. Trying to think of anything else I had, think of titles or... No, I think those were pretty much those matches. Obviously there were more, but I can't think of all of them right now. But this is already too long, and foolish me, I kind of imagined this being like a short, just kind of getting out of the way. But no, of course I had to go in depth and explain everything from a year and a half ago, which no one cares anymore. But just kind of will be cathartic for me to finally get all this out of my camera roll and just get these ideas out there, because I wished I thought at the time this would have been a great Rumble match and all these ideas, and I was so excited about it. And I'm just rambling at this point, but basically as good as someone can do with ideas that were for a show almost a year and a half ago, I did the best I could trying to remember my reasoning for everything and the booking. So yeah, that's just out there now. And yes, indeed. So I am going to end this now. Bye.